Alright guys, welcome back. This is going to be the final set between LucifroN and Dimaga, and actually there's another player in the game, obviously an observer, Santo. And it is going to be on a very large map. Kulas Ravine, I believe, is the name of the map. And so far, I have to say, I've been very impressed with the Terran player LucifroN, playing very creatively, although it didn't pay off in the game one. I felt like he should have won, and game two, paying off very well, going for that Banshee rush. And now we're going to see how the Zerg player is going to respond. Is he going to play better this game is really the question I want answered. I want to see some more better play from the Zerg because so far hasn't been playing all that well. So let's see how he does in game number 3. We're going to go ahead and leave it on APM right now. And no, that's Army. APM, holy, 500 from the Zerg player at one point in the game. And of course, our Terran player is showing that APM is not all that it's cracked out to be because he's been playing very well with, of course, a much lower average APM, but obviously far better strategy and execution playing these mind games with the Zerg player. And that just goes to show you guys that Starcraft is not a game of mindless clicking. It is equally a game of skill and prowess and strategy. So, gonna be an interesting third game, I think. Terran player doing the standard wall off because without a wall, Terran players are very, very weak, especially to Zerg. Terran player getting a quick refinery again. So, are we gonna see the factory build once again? Are we gonna see Hellions or Banshees again? Actually, it's a question I should be asking. Zerg player once again going for a fast expo before spawning pool. Why, Dimaga? Why do you do that? He probably knows better than I do, though, so I can't be one to criticize. But yes, game 3 gonna be interesting to see what these players are gonna choose to go for. I do hope Dimaga does something more creative because obviously he's got the APM to play well. He's just not using the clicks and the actions where he needs to be using them. And of course he needs scouting information. He needs to see what the Terran player is doing. The second game was a game all about a lack of scouting information for the Zerg player, and so he was caught off guard. This game, however, I feel like he's not going to make the same mistake. He is going to probably get in some overlords, maybe even sacrifice them to see what the Terran player is doing, because 2 games in a row now he's been caught off guard, I feel like. Even the Hellions were an off-guard tactic. But, of course, the Zerg player was able to overcome that. So enough talking about the past. Let's get to the game at hand right now. Zerg player so far... Actually, Terran player still doesn't know where the Zerg player is at. He's scouting. He just cross-scouted across the map, I think. I'm not sure if he's seen where the Zerg player is at yet. And of course, you cannot see this Overlord because, as you guys can see, that little line shows that the Overlord is on high ground right now. And now, yes, the Terran player, LucifroN, is going to see that the Zerg player has fast expanded, and he's going to move into the Zerg player's main base. So, for our Terran player, getting once again a starport, quick starport, and I think we are going to see the same exact build, a tech lab being built at the factory, so that when the starport is done, the factory will trade with the starport. The starport will immediately have access to Banshees. Oh, no, we're not going to see the same build. We're actually going to see a drop ship dropping off Hellions. And why do I say that is because the tech lab is researching the igniter, which of course gives the Hellions plus a lot of damage to light. And there is a starport being built. I'd expect a reactor. Yes, the reactor is going down, which means this starport is going to be able to pump out dual medevacs. And this this factory is going to be able to pump out Hellions very soon, I'd expect. Once the Infernal Pre-Igniter upgrade to be done, this factory will probably lift off and build a reactor so it can pump out 2 times as many Hellions. And we're going to actually see a dropship Hellion rush. And how is the Zerg player going to respond to that? He does have a lot of spine crawlers at his front door, but of course a dropship can bypass that. Of course called a medevac now. And right now the Zerg player doesn't have Hydras. He needs Hydras or Roaches to deal with the Hellions. And of course, in terms of Hydras, he needs a lot, because 1 for 1, a Hellion will probably beat an unupgraded Hydra. So this is going to be interesting to see the first... No, not a dropship coming out. Vikings coming out. So excuse me, guys. A complete misread of LucifroN's strategy, but I had no idea to see what he was going to build out of that starport. I had assumed it would have been a dropship dropping off Hellions, but it is going to be a pair of Vikings. And of course, I'd expect more Vikings to come out then. But maybe not. Maybe the Terran player just wants to get a couple Vikings out to kill off and assassinate these big floating balloons, also known as Overlords, and keep the Zerg player under supply. Right now, the Zerg player is undersupplied, 39 to 36. And the Vikings landing down on the high ground, which means they can shoot at these drones. The Spine Crawler is able to shoot back, though, because he can't see the Vikings. And the Vikings making great use of this high ground. And I want to take a look back at the Terran player's base to see, are there dropships coming out? No dropships coming out of the starports. I feel like right now a drop with the Hellions would be very effective. And right now, 2 Vikings pounding away with their Gatling guns on these drones. The drones have to basically choose their mineral patches wisely. And this Spine Crawler needs to reposition right here so it can take out these 2 Vikings. And the Vikings continuing to shoot out at the Overlords. Creative strategy. Once again, now the Hellions coming in. They're just waltzing right through the front door. And with proper micro, the Hellions should be able to beat these Zerglings. Although the Zerglings have speed, so that will be difficult for the Hellions to micro away from. And so a 2-pronged attack. The Zerg player has to worry about Hellions at his mineral line on the high ground. And, Vikings and Hellions at the front door. Oh, this is so much pressure that the Terran player is putting on the Zerg. And right now, as you guys can see, his APM is starting to pick up as he picks it up where it is necessary. And now, finally, Dimaga moving the Spine Crawler a little bit closer. And, no, that is a Spore Crawler, excuse me. Which means it can shoot at the Vikings when they're in the air. And now the Spine Crawler actually going to go down because there is no Overlord to give sight. The Overlord finally getting close enough to give sight of the Vikings. And the Vikings so low on health and still 3, so low on health and still 3, so low on health. All 3 of them could have gone down if they were... Oh no, 2 more coming in. This has got to be it for the Zerg player. What can he do? His entire natural has been breached, and now his main has been breached by Hellions as well. I did not catch this, but 2 Hellions have made their way into the main, and now these drones' life are threatened. Imagine yourself standing in front of a bicycle with a crazy maniacal flamethrower guy on it, a fire bat basically on a vulture, and that would be pretty scary for anybody. So the Zerg player is going to lose, which means LucifroN is probably going to win. I know, logic, 1 + 1 = 2, but that's the way I see this game ending right now because the Zerg player economy has been once again shattered by the Terran. Now the Terran's starting to move in with his main force, and this could be the ending push. As always, once you harass the player, you eventually got to push in and end the game because harassment doesn't equal win. You got to kill the buildings off. And so, could this be it for the Zerg player, Dimaga? I feel like he played not the greatest, but perhaps he was just out-strategized by the Terran. And like I said, he needed to get those scouts in there. In this game, he did not do that. And now the Spore Crawler is going to go down, and the Zerg player has all but lost all of his drones at the natural. He does still have quite a few at the main, but meanwhile, the Terran player has captured his own natural, and somebody here saying thanks for the commentary. Thank you for the feedback. And this is going to pretty much be it for the Zerg. So, hope you guys enjoyed this game. I mean, I would expect Dimaga to GG eventually, although it is the final set, so perhaps he doesn't want to give up that easily. But how can he deal with basically a Viking perimeter covering this entire mineral line? He can't even mine out of his natural right now, forced to depend on income only from the main. The Terran player is now doesn't really have to worry too much. He knows he's got this game in the bag, and only a critical mistake, like an absolute blunder, like going AFK for 5 minutes, would get the Zerg player back in the game. At this point, Overlord's continuing to be assassinated. And now the Terran player is starting to push in. The natural expansion is going to go down. This Spine Crawler is not going to be able to do anything. And it is pretty much GG, I gotta say. Hellions, only the closest Hellions getting their shots off, scan going down for whatever reason. And this Hydra, trying to be a hero, says, I'm gonna die for king and country, but he just died. for no reason. And the broodlings, of course, they come out of a building whenever whenever like a building is destroyed. A couple of broodlings come out, but they don't do much. And now the Zerg player has lost everything to combined Viking and Hellion Fire. Dimaga finally calls GG and leaves the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed that series of games. I'm not sure if I'm going to cast more today, which is Friday, but I might just end up staying in Vegas longer than Sunday. So maybe I should cast some more. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. So yeah, that's it for me. HG Starcraft signing out. Thanks a lot.